Hi there, welcome to the Noah Presgrove case. Today got a very important, interesting video to share with you where we continue the theme of trust issues amongst key people within the case, ranging from Noah Presgrove's family supposedly being in the dark to the likes of Elisha Lee, Caden Pressey's mom, and the situation between them and the mindsets that are going on, what one another thinks of each other publicly and what's been said elsewhere privately. And there's a bit of a timeline as well to understand the attitudes and the change with it over time to figure out, is there any dysfunction going on? Alternative darkness and whatnot. You can share your own thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section, but be sure to stick around for the full video for that full understanding. And welcome to those that are watching the live premiere. Make use of the live chat on the right hand side and just talk about it and additional thoughts and questions. If you are interested in previous coverage by me of other important areas and findings, such as last night and days before, follow up, you'll be able to locate them top right corner where the eye symbol is. You get the full playlist of the case that I've done and the loose videos as well. And if anyone wants to support this channel in a more practical, alternative way, in the comment section under the video, you'll find a pinned message by me with additional links, for example, PayPal, in order to do so. Big shout out to Chris last night, the pig. That's who they literally are because of the profile picture. And big shout out to John Doe, of course, and anyone else in between who's shown support to the channel with super chats and stickers in recent time. The order of how we're going to do things today, we're just going to focus in on the main theme immediately with the screenshots, the post over time from the horses' mouths, and even the odd screenshot of a TikTok live stream that was done in the past in regards to family members of Noah Presgrove and some other people. Not exactly the one, to my knowledge, which Beauty Gurumo and me was referencing in a few videos ago in the live chat. That can be for a separate occasion when talking about other themes, and I've got screenshots and bits and bobs along the way. If there is any possible correlation or link to the one in today's video, well, I can always refer back to it. But, people are so, aware of the Facebook area and a bit of Reddit and kind of YouTube, but TikTok kind of goes under the radar. But here and there you get little blips where people pick up on TikTok, more so Soccer Dad 0807, which is Avery Combs' TikTok profile with posts on it and videos, which have been taken out of context supposedly with time and trying to link it to the party, even though it's not linked to the party, it's actually in the past. But there we go, misunderstandings, it can happen. But there have been interviews as well from key people. It's worth looking into, but it's not that easy because live streams don't save on TikTok. Useless platform, right? YouTube, live streams do save. So to try and find remnants and bits from the past would be very difficult to do so, but we can always talk about it in a future video just for the awareness and see if there's any other witnesses, because Beauty Gurumo was a witness to an extent at the time. I wasn't really, but I do remember some points mentioned. So just be on the lookout for that possible video coming about. Let's start the video right now and look at the first screenshot. The good thing is about these screenshots is for most part of it, there is like a timeline timestamp of when it came about. And this was May 26th, 2024 at 11 p.m. This was at a time of when I was not present. I hadn't started the case until June 1st. That says a lot, that. As for who said this, supposedly Elisha Lee. And I say supposedly just to be careful myself, but the origins of this or what other people were getting at when referring to it as an archive is what Elisha had to say on Facebook from the looks of it. Profile picture does appear to look different, but Elisha has changed her Facebook profile picture over time, so there's that. But let's just read it, and I'll zoom in case it's a bit difficult to see. Apologies if it's blurry. Something is fishy because Banfield, People, the Daily Mail, and even the Little Full Load podcast asked Caden Pressey for an interview and the family begged us to not allow it. actually Robin Smith did. Interesting. What is Banfield? News publication, media, maybe? I know People, is that like article, news group, people.com. They did interviews with the likes of Noah Presgrove's family, Dalen Presgrove, Jack Newton, even Avery Combs, party girl, party host, even though that interview was all about Jack, though. Didn't quite make sense, that. But the People article was somewhat interesting, and to remember all the details, I can't really tell you, but I believe the People article did coverage on the highway, Jimmy Williams under sheriff, quotes from that as well. Condition of Noah's body, why it was at one point compared to later. Kind of like how I did a comparison myself with Caden Pressey, mentioning how Noah Presgrove, when he found him at 5:21 supposedly, that Noah's arms and legs were sprawled out. But when Jimmy Williams came on down at 6:15 a.m. onwards later on, not only was Noah Presgrove naked, but this time round, Noah's legs were together, not spread out. So it would imply there was movement. See, this is the thing. Even if the short situation is wrong, what people are saying towards Caden, they were not black, they were white, you got it wrong, this and that. Even if Noah Presgrove, clothed or unclothed, if it's somehow debunked, how do you explain seeing a person's legs sprawled out and then later the legs are closed together? That would involve movement of a body, like a mannequin. The person themselves who's dead, they can't be moving, they're dead. Someone else would have to move the legs and make adjustments. Why would you need to do anything like that? It's kind of like if you've got a heavy dumbbell on the ground and it's solid, not going anywhere. One person sees it here in front. Later, another person sees it a mile down the highway. Well, clearly, someone's picked it up and moved it. There's been movement. So you can take the shorts out of the equation and just focus in on the positioning of Noah's body. Was that altered with? And from the looks of it, yes. But we don't seem to talk about that enough, and maybe that can be for a separate video possibly to reflect on. But yeah, the Daily Mail, we've seen some coverage there. The Daily Mail did a makeshift interview with Tyler Hardy, even though the wife Mallory Hardy said that never happened. It was false news, and the Daily Mail did misinformation at points about gunshots or bullet holes of some sort. Then I did a video of it, and the Noah Presgrove official Reddit page, not the review one, but the original Noah Presgrove Reddit page, jumped and attacked me, WarLike Wrath, told me off and said, WarLike Wrath, you should know better. You should not be doing this or that with misinformation. And guess what? At the end of the day, when I covered it, it was already edited, the article. The misinformation was removed and it was more refined by the time I covered it. So it just goes to show that really early on in the Noah Presgrove case on Reddit, the official community, there was people already impetuous about me and thinking the worst in me. Says a lot, doesn't it, for stability, lacking. Says a lot for trust, lacking. Ties in with today. But anyway, the Full Load podcast, I believe, is on YouTube, where in the early days they did interviews with Noah's family and whatnot. But out of all these different groups, media outlets and whatnot, they also reached out to Caden Pressey for an interview. But to say, and the family begged us not to allow it, what does that mean? The family of who? The family of Noah Presgrove, the family of Caden Pressey didn't want it to happen. Actually, Robin did. Begged us not to allow it, period. Actually, Robin did. What, Robin wanted to allow it? Or it was actually Robin that begged us not to allow it? See, this is what I mean. Shit language, shit wording, shit context. Not good enough, is it? Oh, not a good start. Well, don't worry. We move on to the next view and it will get a little bit clearer. Don't worry. So that's May 26. Just the theme of Caden Pressey. People reach out to Caden for an interview or for some insight. You could understand from the parents' point of view, is this a good idea or not? Should it happen? We don't want you to do that. We're not going to allow you. That's how it could be interpreted. Of course, we've seen this one a few times. The profile picture, which is hard to see there, is the same profile picture as of Elisha Lee at this moment in time. So it appears to be coming directly from the same individual. I've always said if there needs to be additional context, it will be done so. Or if it needs debunking, it will be done so. And not a single person has debunked it by saying, oh, it's somebody else. So this is what Elisha Lee has had to say. And as well, from the language and the wording itself. You know, if it said like my son or my Caden, you can't get where it's coming from. But look, this is July 3rd, 2024 at 11:43 p.m. This is where the seed of doubt, the trust issues kick on in. And I'll read it out all and then break it down. Elisha said, I absolutely do not trust Kathy Bingham. Not at all. I've never asked to speak to her. She interviewed Caden Pressey last year without mine or his father's knowledge behind one's back. Then again, a few months ago at our home place of living, whilst Caden's father and I were at work, finally Kathy reached out to me on Messenger and asked if she could talk to my husband and I. I allowed it, but it's all recorded in the cloud from the security system. She came to ask about my niece. I'm guessing this was an interview that took place at the house, even if they were at work. Maybe it was arranged. Coming home to ask about Elisha's niece, which would be Georgia. Caden Pressey's cousin. Elisha says, I wanted to know what she knew as in Kathy Bingham, so I gave her some crumbs. Told her, Kathy, that Caden had recorded his phone call with Trooper Anthony, which appears to be true. The call with Anthony Linares, I'm guessing this is the very first one, linking back to the Justin Roy situation. I'll just zoom in for a second. The Justin Roy situation where reached out to Caden, informed him about Anthony wanted to call him, then informed Anthony about Caden wanting to call or reach out. It was kind of like Justin Roy doing the matchmaking to get things going and communication starting, but Anthony Linares, who received a call from Caden, and Caden recording it with his phone or another phone, they were kind of like off guard thinking, oh, you calling me? I'm calling you? Oh, is this because of Justin in the background? He called like 10 minutes ago and many other times before that. And then they were talking amongst each other. And even Caden Pressey acknowledged indirectly that Justin Roy was problematic in the case. That's not me saying it. It's Caden Pressey of all people. It's not the end of the world, but, you know, just to put into perspective that, yeah, members of the general public and people from the dark side could think somewhat negative of Justin Roy, but there are also other key individuals involved within the case that may think negative to an extent of Justin Roy. And that's just for the context. But in regard to that phone call with Anthony, Kathy Bingham wanted to watch it, so I asked her if she had anything she could share with me. That's when she showed me a video on her phone. It didn't have any audio, all recorded on my security system, which we have seen the CCTV, a 10-second clip. And then at the very end, the most important part, Elisha Lee says, I don't trust her. I don't trust Noah Presgrove's family, Kathy Bingham, or the whole lot of them. So basically, anyone and everyone within this case and community, as of July 3rd, 2024, Elisha didn't trust anyone, even the victim's family that are suffering, confused, in the dark, want answers, and people aren't reaching out to them. Elisha does not trust Noah's family. Right from the horse's mouth. Of course, this is like a historical screenshot. Things could have changed since. But is it clear enough to highlight that? Because I know in recent time people will jump on these screenshots and say, well, look, here we go. We've got dysfunction and that's all it is. And even if it was July 3rd, it still applies now. Does it really? Well, we'll compare and contrast later with some of the screenshots which I've got myself of the likes of Elisha and Robin Smith in the same chat room at the same time, which is very important to say the least. But just to go back over, Caden recorded his phone call with Trooper Anthony. Specifically, how I interpret that is the first time Caden had called Anthony, not the private police recording interview of Caden and either Anthony and or another individual where it was the 2-on-1 interview. That I'm assuming that's different. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just interpreting how it's worded here. It seems very clear that this was the very first call Caden had with Anthony Linares about Justin urging him to reach out and just discussing about the vacation and the timing not being correct, Justin being problematic, as in what Anthony was getting at, and then arranging a possible time of when a follow-up interview, proper one, can be done. So it wasn't groundbreaking, that specific call, but Kathy Bingham wanted to watch it. Kathy Bingham wanted this, Kathy Bingham wanted that. Why does it concern Kathy so much? Well, because she's a private investigator in the case, I guess gathering it all up together. But I guess with Kathy Bingham being somewhat related to the odd party goer, there is a bit of a conflict of interest, and seeing the attitude change by Kathy after the Kane and Pressy private police recorded interview of June 2024 was released. You know what I'm saying? The opinions, outlooks, attitudes changed, and Kathy went off on one and was questioning and showing doubt in Kane and Pressy specifically, and no one else in a particular post. Kathy Bingham deleted a post afterwards, which clearly showed that maybe she made a mistake or she thought she messed up. It was wrong to say, but still, mistakes made along the way. True attitude sharing. So, very interesting. Of course, more of it is about Kathy Bingham, but when people start sticking the noses into Caden Pressy and want answers and certain info, the likes of Elisha Lee, the mother, gets defensive and cautious and doesn't trust these different people, which I understand. Natural instinct, protecting your loved ones, very normal. But then you've got the extreme contrast of that Dropbox, and it's supposedly being shared out to people that Elisha trusted and then stabbed her in the back. So for Elisha in July the 3rd, 2024, to not trust anyone, including Noah's family, you'd think you would think basically that the Dropbox and that being leaked, as Elisha calls it, hacked, that should never have happened. If Elisha earlier on was really tense and didn't trust anyone, if you don't trust people and you don't reach out to them and you don't give them access to stuff, you're less likely to get screwed over. But still, Caden got screwed over down the line. Of course, this being July, the leak occurred months later. Trust could have been built in between that period, hence change over time, but not for the better. Ended up getting worse. But still, the reference to this, the significance of it, the reference to Caden and the family, which it sounds like the family of Caden begged us to not allow it, or that Noah's family begged us not to allow it. I don't know which way round you would interpret that. It's just shit language. And then in particular this one, which was actually tied on in some kind of reference what people were making in regard to this post about, well, if Elisha doesn't trust anyone, then why was Elisha on some kind of TikTok live stream of some sort? Well, looking at the date, it's obviously important. This was July 3rd. This specific TikTok interview occurred July 26, 2024. And what this is a screenshot from back then of the live TikTok. That screenshot was then added onto a notepad, hence the white blank background, and then text was added on in relation to the original date and time of when it took place and when the screenshot was taken. And just to show that as an example, when you zoom in here, you can see at the time of when it was actually on the live stream, it was at 7:16, which I guess is PM, and then on the notepad, added later in time, like later in time, 7:16 PM, July 26, July 26 being the day of when this interview took place at the time from the looks of it. So it's good how people can remember or find the original timeline timestamp of when it occurred and then add it on afterwards as like an overlay. That's what I do with my screenshots later when referring to my live chat in recent time, just so you know roughly when it came about. But a TikTok interview by One Crime at a Time, TikToker. The live stream is how it looks here, and I'll try and zoom out a bit. You got the host on the left, One Crime at a Time, and then on the right you've got like viewers, people present, which just happens to be Noah Presgrove family members all in the same room together. And then below, someone called AO or A0, whoever that is, and then there's like a request for other people to join. There is no sign or indication that Elisha Lee is present, but when scrolling down to the live chat feed at the time, what did it say? Tiffany joined. You got Shannon Sullivan. Shannon Sullivan you would have seen on Facebook in the different groups, supposedly a friend, a good friend to Elisha, to say, hey Elisha, with a heart. And then someone below, L the Spitfire, hi Elisha. It seems to come across that somewhere within that live chat feed up above, which is an insight here on screen, that Elisha Lee was present, was watching along. Did she step up on panel? I don't know. But it seemed like that Elisha was welcomed, or maybe she's just watching in the background because she doesn't trust them. Obviously, there's not enough context here. What would have been good if there was a screenshot of this like panel of people with a webcam of Elisha on screen, because what people were saying or suggesting was this particular TikTok live stream at the time with Elisha present and with Noah Presgrove family members, everything seems A-okay. Nothing is wrong. There's a level of trust and care. And that was July 26. But some days before that, towards the start of July the 3rd, Elisha said this: I don't trust Noah's family, Kathy, or the whole lot of them. You don't trust them, but you appear on TikTok in a live stream. That's what people were getting at. How I interpret it is, I see no indication of Elisha present in the live stream interview itself, but she is a part of the live chat, likely for the likes of one of her friends to, give her a warm welcome. So it doesn't truly indicate whether there's trust issues here or not, or whether their family are aware or not, Noah's family of Elisha, but interviews were conducted on TikTok. Beauty Gurumo, let me know, is this the particular interview that did take place which involved Caden Pressey? Because if it did, then I can imagine Elisha playing a role as well. I do remember the reference, though, where people were saying how a particular TikTok live stream, which Caden Pressey was a part of, he was in the bottom right corner of the screen, he looked completely out of place, he didn't know where he was, that's how people interpreted it, and he was surrounded by lots of women, but they were kind of pissed at some of them. I don't know if that's the same correlation to this particular live stream interview. As said, to even have a screenshot of this is very important, because live streams don't save on TikTok. It's useless. So you just work with what you've got. And, the key people that stand out most would be the right-hand tile here. You should be able to see. It does say Ash, which is short for Ashley. I don't know whose house this is, but Noah Presgrove, photo of him on the back wall there. So on the left in the green shirt is Ashley Chadwick, the cousin to Noah Presgrove, who was also appeared in the People article. In the middle, you've got Robin Smith, the aunt to Noah Presgrove, or one of the aunts. And we've seen them in recent time on my channel in the live chat. We'll get to that later. And then on the far right in the pinkish top is, I think, called Deborah Smith, the grandmother to Noah Presgrove. Grandmother to Noah Presgrove. So with them all being in the same room, getting together, talking, hanging out, talking about the case and whatnot, it makes complete sense. Was this one which involved alcohol? I don't know. Could be a different interview. But supposedly Elisha is present somewhere within this live stream or the chat, maybe lurking about. Just a single screenshot. We don't have anything else, which is unfortunate. But, you know, it just gives you some of this stuff goes under the radar. No harm in bringing it back up, and the actual time and date given there from the looks of it. 104 people were watching at the time, 104 witnesses. How many of those people are still around till this day, and how many of them are on my channel, I wonder. Next one, what we move to is 2025 of February, like 16, 17 days ago when I did a video. The quality isn't that good, but I did take this on my phone at the end of a live premiere when the chat does cut off and it does not save. That's why I had to take photos on my phone just to be safe. There were some random questions here and there mentioned, and then you also had just in time saying, Elisha Lee, did you drive your Camaro there, or did you and your sister-in-law ride together? If so, what did you ride there together in? To Colette, Georgia from the highway. That's what it's referenced to. And then Robin Smith, the aunt, says, Elisha Lee has always been respectful and nice to me. No beef there whatsoever. Oh, right, so face-to-face when present, all good. Does Elisha Lee respond to Robin Smith? No. But Elisha does say, respectfully, most of you in the chat are trolls and can kiss my ass. I have nothing but respect for Robin and her family. It's a positive, but does it link back to what Elisha was thinking in the past? Not really, and we'll go back and forth in a second. Of course, there is the general theme of people can change with time and mindsets can as well. Let's not forget that. But let's just say with Elisha towards Robin that there is nothing but respect for Robin and Noah's family. That much respect, even though the likes of Robin Smith does say, I've only ever heard that Noah was looking for a ride home on Facebook in general amongst discussions by random people. You could interpret it. No one has ever told me this in person. See, there is context lacking here. Robin Smith, by saying, you know, I've only heard about it mentioned on Facebook. You could hear about it on Facebook by Caden or Elisha, which would be good communication, of course, but that's not mentioned. It's very vague what Robin says here. I would interpret hearing about discussions on Facebook as in members of the general public re-quoting or suggesting it, and that's it. For no one to reach out to Robin in person, does that mean face-to-face more so? But it could still mean like on a personal level, reaching out to Robin in the background privately, which Robin doesn't explain here. So once again, it's vague. The interpretation, what I get from this, whether it's right or wrong, just based off the language and wording, is that Robin Smith only heard about Noah wanting a ride home from random people online who weren't even there at the party or witnesses. Like the likes of Caden Pressey, who was a witness to an extent, to see and hear Noah wanted a ride back home, but was denied it, did not reach out to Robin Smith. Why is that? Why is there a breakdown in communication there? And some people could say, it's not a breakdown in communication because it did happen. Well, it must be a breakdown in communication for people to word it in such poor, vague ways to begin with to get a false interpretation of it. See? Problem after problem after problem, there's multiple layers. But from the looks of it here, Robin Smith and Noah Presgrove family members always left in the dark. Just like with the personal possessions, items, clothing of Noah Presgrove, which some say it was passed on to the right people, passed on to Noah's mother, was it Casey Smith, the name? And then that was passed on to some other people, but the likes of Robin, Ashley Chadwick are in the dark. Do you call them not immediate family so they wouldn't hear or know about it? But still, don't matter. At the end of the day, if it's family, they should know. There should be a level of communication at least. If half the family are in the dark, the other half know what's up, it's just not good enough. It doesn't really help, does it? So to compare this screenshot of February 2025, Robin Smith says, Elisha has always been respectful and nice to me, no beef. And Elisha says in response, nothing but respect for Robin Smith and her family. All positive. Respect for Noah Presgrove's family. And yet, July 3rd, 2024, Elisha Lee says, I don't trust Kathy Bingham. I don't trust Noah Presgrove's family, or the whole lot of them. There's a big contrast, is there not? The theme I just wanted to add on now is just the general mindset, thoughts and feelings towards someone or some people or the case at hand, where you may think it to be some way. You might have your doubts and suspicions. You may be confident that there is a certain cause of death, but then give, some time and space for days to pass by, months to pass by, and then eventually your mindset may change. So like when people thought it was a beating, a murder, and then months passed by, now people believe it's a vehicular-based death. Could still be a form of murder, but a vehicular-based death. There's been a change, been a contrast. Or like with Robin Smith, at one point agreed with Brooke Bounds-Carter, partygoers and friends of Noah could never do anything like that. It's not cold-blooded murder, it's not murder at all. They just couldn't do anything vicious like that. And then another time, Robin Smith is like, yeah, someone knows something, it's murder, or to an extent, the thought of it being murder. I can't remember in which order it occurred in that mindset change, but it does happen. People don't have to just stick with one idea or one concept at the start and maintain that all the way till the end. Your thoughts can change along the way. I think people have said that Donna Bond has changed as well. I don't know. I don't keep track of everyone. But what I'm getting at here is people elsewhere will interpret change in a suspicious way. And sometimes it's true. Other times it's just incorrect. There's a misunderstanding. And I can compare it with my own encounters and experiences over time. True crime related Dylan Round's case, changes in people's behaviour, their behavioural patterns, their mindsets changing. Once positive, then negative, petty, whingy, whiny. Once believing it to be a certain cause of death or someone responsible, and then going, completely diving off the deep end with conspiracies or wild stuff and things which make no sense at all, and it being a complete mess, and they've been influenced in the background, they've been indoctrinated and brainwashed because they're vulnerable. Okay, I've seen sudden changes in people's behaviour with time, and it stands out quite a lot. I've seen sudden changes in behaviour and patterns with the Kenny Veach case as well. The way 1 minute they're a certain way, next minute they do a complete 360 turn, and it's like, right, have they been threatened? Have they been told to take a step back? Have they been brainwashed? What's gone on? When it's so drastic and when it sticks out so much, it is suspicious, and it makes people think there is unnatural influences going on in the background, which has negatively impacted them and their behaviour. Just like with Mac Adventures, father and son YouTube channel in the past, go around the US driving about on their motorcycles, and then started getting into exploring the land of Area 51 or the surrounding area up to the gates of Area 51. And then sometimes stepping over the line of a gate, which they're not supposed to, but getting away with it and recording it. But then some other time when they tried doing it and was walking over the line, military showed up, 2 military guys, they got told off, fined, I think. And then after that, they disappeared, went quiet for months. And then the son speaks out on a live stream, acts completely different, his body language completely different. He says, yeah, this type of exploration isn't worth it. We sold our bikes. We're moving on, doing other stuff, health issues as well. And as for the Area 51, there's nothing to see there, it's boring, nothing whatsoever, it's not worth exploring, etc. And it just looks so obvious that something had gone on, a negative influence had been threatened, had been silenced when they were detained or held somewhere for a few months. Warnings, measures, threats, who knows, but you know, when you see that life sucked out of someone, that enjoyment, that excitement, and they do a complete 360 turn, things have happened. So, yeah. In terms of me, though, I have been accused as well, but it's been done in a very impetuous way, which is very typical when it comes to behaviour there, isn't it? Right? See, the changes with me were subtle with time, and it wasn't instant. And a good example of it is with the Kenny Veach case, when I was talking about the keyhole mystery, where it looked like a reptilian eye looking through the back wall of a shallow cave near to Pitcher Canyon, around the Sheep Range area north. But yeah, when I covered it at the time, it did look like a reptilian eye, very creepy and weird. But then at a later point, I wanted to look at it again, and then again, and again, and then interpret it from the different points of views of those that didn't believe in it and thought it was more natural. And eventually I got to that point where I could see that it was natural. It was like a psychological effect, the depth of field on the camera and the view perception of the individual looking at it with what's in front, what's behind, lift motion, pairs in shot, fills the hole, looks like it's on the other side, but it's actually in front of the hole towards the camera closer, which makes it look like an eye, but it's not. It's like vegetation caught up within webs or cobwebs of some sort. Made more sense. But the moment I did that video debunking the original mystery, which I covered, people didn't like it and got a bit negative with me. And many others were saying, oh, you know, he's been silenced. The government has got to him. The men in black have erased his mindset. He's been threatened. That's what people said to me. And then, yeah, there was another time as well where I changed the camera angle up. So instead of having it this way facing me, I had the camera over there facing the window. So my back would be facing you right now, and I would be looking towards those strawberries. No strawberries existed back then, okay, only recently. But I'd be looking that way. And I had the curtains closed just to block out the background, just for privacy and whatnot. And then when that video was done and I was talking, yes, the lightness was really bad. You know, it looked really dark, but I'm just working with what I've got. People interpreted it, though, as I was in witness protection. Because I had shit lighting, people thought I was in witness protection. You see how wild things can get. So, of course, if you ever go to the Kenny Veach case, or if I go back to it and people follow, just brace yourself for the wild stuff. Yes, the Kenny Veach case is more male-dominated than females, so it can get messy in other ways. I would say the true crime community in general across most cases is more so dominated by females, which is all good and fine. You might get cat fights along the way, but it's not that bad. In terms of the drama and conflict anyway, in the Noah Presgrove case, it doesn't matter what gender, it's just all mixed and all over the place. But would you say this recent post or coverage is drama related to paint Elisha in a bad way, to make her look like she doesn't trust or respect Noah Presgrove's family? Yet the latest post of what we saw, screenshot based from my point of view of a recent live stream of mine, February 2025, 17 days ago now, of where Robin Smith and Elisha are in the same room. Robin says, nope, Alicia's okay, respects us. And Elisha says, I respect the family. But Elisha did not trust Noah's family in the past. It's important to highlight that. People in between could be trying to push a singular photo to say, well, Elisha doesn't trust Noah's family, so what other shady stuff is going on then in between and now? Is Noah's family not being told the full truth and Elisha is hiding some stuff from the family of Noah and Robin Smith? Depends how you look at it. But with the timestamps and dates provided, it does give perspective in regard to how, yes, in July of 2024, Elisha did not trust Noah's family, but of February 2025, Elisha says she does trust Noah's family. Oh, well, that's inconsistent. You say you don't trust them, but you also do trust them. Take in mind it's at different points in time. opinions and thoughts can change. Something may have happened in between for Elisha to then have trust within Noah's family. But I guess, where does the distrust, where does the trust issues come from in the first place? Does it come back to that People article and Daily Mail interviewing, wanting Caden Pressey, but a family, or the family as it's worded, was urging it not to happen, and Elisha took that the wrong way? Or it depends who was urging it not to happen. Obviously, the whole Kathy Bingham thing about supposedly being a bit nosy and doing interviews behind Elisha's back on her son in the past. Elisha gets her back up and thinks, how dare you do that behind my back without any consent or knowledge about it or being informed? That's very rude. How dare you? I do understand that to an extent, hence why you might have trust issues. If someone goes behind your back in the first place, it doesn't set a good impression. So from there on, you may have a form of doubt in what they're trying to do and why they're being sneaky, why they're going behind your back. I mean, Caden Pressey, of his age, fully grown adult, can make his own decisions for most part of it. Yes, it's good and nice for other family members to be informed about what might be going on at a point in time. But did Caden Pressey have an issue with being interviewed by Kathy Bingham? Because Elisha seems to, at a point, because of going behind the back. But what has Noah Presgrove's family done at a point in time in the past to cause Elisha to not trust them? What factor came in? What event came about towards Elisha or towards Caden Pressey, which made Elisha think, I don't trust anyone, I don't trust Noah's family. But obviously now, in recent time of February 2025, Elisha does trust the Noah's family, which is a positive. Bridges building, trust strengthening. But how true, how genuine is it? Some people could argue. Is it temporary trust? Is it long-term, strong trust? Or could things be broken down in between? To go from not trusting anyone to then midpoint of interview being leaked or supposedly hacked, as Elisha would say, sharing it with certain people that then turn on her. It's just weird how Elisha does not trust the victim family, but she will trust other random people online to some extent who aren't directly a part of the case. Interesting where trust is placed, but everybody's different. People may see the best in someone, regardless of the position that they're in a case, and just hope that they know what they're doing. Justin Roy had said that he put his trust in George Choden because Justin said George appeared as if he was from Canada and a part of the police or something, and tied with the case trying to help. So stuff would be passed over, information shared, and then Justin said George turned on him, stabbed him in the back, passed it on to Brooke or some other people. I mean, at the end of the day, when you're communicating with people online, you can listen in, but just also be careful at the same time. But if it is anything like really sensitive, then you think you would be trying to seek out for better validation or ID proof. Are you who you really are? And what you say? Can I have proof, indication of it before I do or pass anything on? There's a level of caution. But considering this case has been messy, if there have been trust issues on and off, that can lead to breakdown in communication as well. If you trust someone, you'll be more comfortable around them. You might be more willing to open up to that person about what you know of, what you think, what you feel. And with that better communication, there'll be a better understanding on the other party from hearing about it, and vice versa. It can be quite healthy. But maybe at times this case or the community isn't always healthy, and that's the dysfunction. But there might be, I still want to highlight the importance though that Elisha may trust Noah's family now, but didn't back then. Things do change with time. At least timestamps were provided today. That's better than nothing, right? This video isn't to sabotage or paint Elisha in a very negative light. It's just to try and highlight and document what's happened with time, behavioural changes, mindsets of one another, and where we're currently at and where we could end up next. So be sure to leave your comments down below. we can briefly look at some recent comments from my YouTube channel in relation to the case and acknowledge what people have had to say there. Whether it directly links to this theme or other stuff, let's head on over right now. Starting from the bottom, we'll just acknowledge what people say. First of all, we've got USA Tragedy, or that's how it's spelled. Hey stranger, I'm aware of this person, but I can't remember what community they came from, whether that be the Dylan Rounds one or no Presgrove, but I do remember seeing them in the past, so shout out. We've got EP, thanks Raf, you're welcome. Carl, what does it mean to be a member on this channel? What are the requirements and benefits? Cool, thanks. Does one get to pick the custom badge and emoji or assigned by you? So me personally, I am the only one in control of the custom badges and emojis, as in what comes, what goes, and what's replaced, if there are any added ones or replaced ones. The custom badge, which is like of a skull with a magnifying glass over the eye, varies in colour depending on how long you're a member for. When you first join as a member, you've got like a green skull badge, customised by me, created, and that'll be next to your username. And there might be some people in the comment section where we can show that as an example. And then as you go through the months over time, for being long as a member for, even if you do stop being a member but then you join back afterwards, I think the progress does save, so it's not the end of the world, and you can keep on growing. And then if you're a member for like, is it like 48 months or something? No, it can't be 48 months, that takes too long. 48 weeks, I can't remember how long it really is, 12 months or something, you'll get like a purple badge of some sort, and then the end one has got like multiple skulls on, so it looks really good. And then as for the custom emojis, which is like one of a cat, one of a belt, a whip, one of a witch's hat, and some of the bits and bobs along the way, that's been created by me. So yeah, there's that. Anything else? Not really. Okay, oh, we've got a long one here. Hey Raf, you wondered when did the case go wrong and become dysfunctional, you asked. Could it have been rescued or saved? I don't think so. In my mind, the divergent thinking and public statements of people thinking it was a hit and run and entrenching their positions in concrete was a turning point. Early analysis and deconstruction of the Emmy autopsy report led to the conclusion that Noah had been a victim of foul play. Murder was what I felt about Noah for a season, but now I believe it was involuntary manslaughter. There was a possible beatdown, and I believe either a truck or side-by-side run over and then his body dumped, or he fell out of a truck and driver didn't know he was asleep in the back. The white shorts can't be on Noah whilst dying or dead, because Caden said he saw a video of them removing the black shorts. Yeah, I mean, Caden did say he saw a video from Kathy Bingham's point of view, you know, who had the video, of black shorts being removed from Noah's body at the highway, but there was no mention of the white shorts being in the video, no mention of the white shorts being added onto Noah's body. So at what point did they show up? Carl says someone had the white shorts when they dumped the body and then threw them into the roadway as a distraction, maybe. The falling out of the truck theory I am open to, but it makes the white shorts appearance untenable. So obviously this is Carl's opinion, so that's fine. Oh, Carl's a bit busy here. Your later commentary, Raf, and discussions of you and Beauty Gurumu is so funny. I've been laughing with your Valley Girl accent and subject matter. What's the petty all about? What does that mean? I mean, I could give you a demonstration, but I think it's a bit dodgy, that. So just to word it in other ways, let's just see. So we got Strawberry. Shout out to Strawberry. Couldn't stop laughing. So basically, when Beauty Gurumo mentions about the fatty, just speaking in general, fatty is slang for somebody's ass, okay? So if someone's got a big fatty, it means someone's got a big ass, okay? It is what it is. Everyone's built different. Beauty Gurumo built very different. My goodness, very jealous. But moving on. Carl, to skimmed milk, to Sharon and Beauty Gurumo, lol. About the Raf glossary, iced lolly. isn't said in the US. We would say an iced popsicle. Oh no. Yeah, I've heard a thing or two about popsicles. I remember there was a reference in the Dylan Rounds case. There's some dodgy references there as well. So very consistent. That's good. We've got Glenn as well. Shout out to Glenn. Sonny says the accents, Raf, so funny. Obviously, that's good to know. And then AJ Williams channels his inner Jan Fiorillo with a very long memoir, which we'll read out right now, or maybe it's an autobiography. AJ says, shaking my damn head. Now we've got someone that has never been to the party house and accident scene trying to tell someone that lives there and drives it often how long it takes to drive it. The Siamese twin comment went right over their head, and they falsely and inaccurately stated in a previous video that Noah could only fall from the west side of a vehicle to come to rest where he did, and that he couldn't have fell from the rear of the truck or somewhere and come to rest where he did. So I think AJ Williams is a bit of a problematic individual with their mindset, because the wording and language comes across as if they're referring to me without actually mentioning my name in regard to the previous video that was done in what that person had said in the video, which would be me. In terms of how Noah could have fallen out of the vehicle, I didn't completely dismiss it as in certain angles besides the west side. I mentioned how it's not as likely. When it's not as likely, there is still a chance. Now, AJ Williams, your impetuous attitude once again is creeping up. I think there was another comment by AJ Williams whining as well. It's been a bit of a reoccurring theme. I don't know why it is about these pathologists or certain so-called experts, supposedly, if that's who they really are, and others elsewhere, opening map on Reddit. These individuals in these certain positions and forms of intelligence and knowledge, and yet they're very, very arrogant at times with their language, wording, and whininess. I don't know why it is, but, you know, people may bring the cows to the yard. Seems like WarLike Wrath brings the whingy whinies to the yard. Great, isn't it? Anyway, let's continue reading some of these impetuous points mentioned, which is not accurate. Also, don't seem to understand that the wind from the vehicle or tyres from the vehicle or another later passing vehicle could have easily deposited the white shorts in the roadway as they were initially found. Also, when a person falls from a vehicle, it's not uncommon for the momentum to cause the person to roll, tumble, slide some distance. And when a person is in motion in that manner, it's not uncommon for there not to be a significant amount of trail of blood, not to mention that with the exception of the scalp, would Noah did not have external injuries that would have bled a lot. Not to also mention that one does not continue bleeding once the heart stops pumping, and with Noah's internal injuries, he would have expired rather quickly. As for the white shorts, I might also mention that we don't know Noah was actually wearing them at the time of the incident that caused his death. He could have taken them off, been holding them in his hand at the time of the incident for all we know. Well, it just so happens, AJ, if you actually did your research properly on my channel and videos where I gave actual demonstrations and reconstructions, I did suggest it, the possibilities of Noah with the shorts in his hands, possibly. But obviously, you don't remember that or you didn't look. But then again, this is what happens when someone tries to analyse something they don't have the expertise, skills or knowledge in which to accurately do so. Justin, Roy, Michael Facecast and JF are other perfect examples of such as well. So what AJ the whiny Williams is doing here is grouping my name WarLike Wrath and applying it to Justin, Roy, Michael and JF. Okay. This comment will likely cause someone to throw one of their 2-year-old tantrum tirade tangents, but I don't give a fuck. Facts are facts, whether some like that or not. But the fact is, AJ Williams, is that you're acting impetuous once again, because certain points that you mention or requote from me, how I'm being dismissive of certain outcomes or angles and perspectives, I just said that the chances of it are lower, not that it's not possible whatsoever. So you're jumping the gun, AJ, once again. You're putting words into my mouth, and that's disappointing. See, AJ is very similar to the mindsets and mentality of certain people on Facebook, where at the end of certain sentences, they jump on in and say, oh, I'm sure WarLike Wrath is going to do this. I'm sure WarLike Wrath is going to react like this and react badly and get angry, get enraged and beyond and throw toys out the pram and have a tantrum. No, that's not my job description. That's not my role. That's what all the other people do themselves in their behaviour, you know? Talking in a monotone voice, if that's interpreted as having a tantrum, then God knows what it means if one's voice does raise higher then. Very interesting. See, you know, AJ Williams, besides complaining, whinging and whining, should be somewhat grateful that there is freedom of speech here, because if AJ tried doing it elsewhere on Facebook pages, there's a chance that he could get blocked or she could get blocked. At the end of the day, these supposed experts seem to have a bit of an attitude issue with how they talk to, I guess, members of the general public. What's this? Laughing my ass off. Okay, talking about Michael Facecuts there. Yeah, so there was another comment by AJ Williams. Oh my God, does a more narcissistic person exist? Now, there was not much context there, so AJ Williams fails to provide context, which is unfortunate. But it could be interpreted based off like patterns of what other people have said themselves in impetuous ways, and based off the mindset that AJ has towards me anyway, being somewhat negative. I believe that AJ is referring to WarLike Wrath as being the most narcissistic person on this entire planet, which at the end of the day, I don't really need to say too much to that. Witnesses will speak for themselves that have been in the presence of me at points in time, and that's pretty much it. But, you know, if AJ Williams wants to continue complaining on and being a statistic on this channel, feel free to do so. Well, we got Grunt. I love it how everyone is all about phone data and the phone ping. The phone could always be left behind to make the alibi. I've seen two tiny teenage girls kill a 220-pound man, and the man was not fat. He was lean and mean. They waited till he went to sleep and they beat him to death with a baseball bat. They said that the 15-year-old that hit him first crushed his windpipe. Oh, he was dead before he knew he was dead. So girls can easily take down a teenage boy. And of course, if you look back when it came to, I guess, 2015 onwards with ISIS, Syria, ISIS executions, how they were training young children, 4 or 5-year-olds, to stand there with a firearm and shoot prisoners and kill them and even behead them. So it is possible for people of a younger age and strength and different genders to take out and eliminate others. Maybe preferably more so when a person who's stronger, bigger, maybe more incapacitated or just in a vulnerable place, physically, mentally. One day at a time. I was late to the live, have been interrupted several times today. That's unfortunate. I'll need to watch this video again. I don't recall Jack saying he was told to fold the white shorts. Well, he was. Or at least he did the action of doing so. I do remember him saying he picked them up. Yes, he placed them in the back of the pickup and then was instructed by someone to put them back on the road. No, it was more so put by the side of Noah's body, not back on the road. No. If Ellie told the other kids Ken's timeline is off a little bit, as Sarah Long states, what is a little to Ellie? A few minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. Stevie's reference to Siamese twins is describing how close Noah and Jack were. But were they close enough? I mean, there are those counter-arguments are that Caden Pressey is just a friend to Noah, but the actions publicly demonstrated is much more than what the best friend Jack has done. And in terms of interviews as well and in communication, that's observations by people in the community over time from the surface public level, at least, not taking in mind what's going on in the background there. Right, so we've some interesting comments, the odd whiny individual. Let's just catch up on the latest. Moving on to more positive comments, more so. First of all, we got Skim saying, great job, WarLike Wrath. We appreciate you very much. Very positive to see. Carl, is that the emoji a red rose? Well, it is in a way, but it's actually more a pink rose, and it was actually taken by me on my phone from one's garden. So it is a bit more unique, refined, and I guess higher definition as well, which is accessible through being a member on the channel. Larry, thank you for doing what you do, sir. Much appreciated. Shout out to Larry. I might have seen him before, but if not, welcome to the channel. And then we got Andrea. Keep it up, Ref. Will do. I'll do what I can. Candy, great job. Thank you. You're welcome. See, Good examples of people. Good people. Positive. Sonny, you deal with a lot of shit, but Ref, you're tough-minded. Appreciate that. Agree. There we go. And this is the thing. Just this one case, bad things may happen to me. At times, I might be the sacrificial lamb, but if it helps the case, here's why it is at times. I might take a lot of resistance, false claims and attacks on me, and slanderous points as well. But people can, outsiders can obviously like to dismiss it and say it's not that bad, it's not that much. You got to take in mind that I've been covering cases and things on YouTube for a while now. So it won't just be this case where I've been attacked. I've been attacked heavily years before in the Dylan Rounds one, and I was also attacked in the Kenny Veach one. Wherever I go, I will get attacked, but that's what happens. It's to be expected, it's fine. As long as good things happen along the way and balances it out, that's good enough. And in terms of the Noah Presgrove case, indirectly speaking, some positives, a positive definitely did happen, which outweighs all of the attacks, outweighs all the darkness over time. And would I go for it all over again just to experience and come across that one positive? Absolutely. And then we've got Strawberry. They say, amazing video. No one else can ever do what you do. Also, it shows your mental strength to do your work and not let negativity get to you. It speaks volumes on your character. Lots of love. So it's obviously very positive for Strawberry to say. Very nice of her. Much appreciated. Big shout out to Strawberry in the chat. Whether they're watching now or later, anyone and everyone watching this live premiere, find a strawberry emoji. You just go to the emoji bar, type in strawberry, you'll find it, and then just click it a few times, to give a shout out to Sharon, of course. So yeah, all good there, all positive. Glenn, of course. CL, do not listen to the trolls, keep fighting for justice and know it in family, of course. Jade, Justice, not seen Jade as much, but welcome back. Even got George Chodum. Thanks for continuing to peel back that onion. There's so much more that needs to be peeled back to be able to understand what's been going on just prior to the Emmy report being released and the subsequent explosion of creativity that has resulted since. And I'm guessing since that report being released, the explosion of creativity is the different causes of possibilities of causes of death. Like the foul play and the murder and the beatings and the golf club, how that all came about, a group beating and expanding. I mean, yeah, you could say it's a bit wild and a bit all over the place and it may not truly match the autopsy report, but as long as appropriate language and wording is used and it's a theory and an idea, even if it's a wrong one, even if it's not quite an intelligent one, it doesn't matter. They're not causing damage or harm. But other people that do jump on in and plow through, it's murder 100%, it's this, it's that, foul play 100%, just a little bit too bold, a bit too much, I would say. Got to be careful. Carl, good analogy, George. Onion being peeled, almost 2 years and the layers coming off are amazing. Yes, disinformation, unintentional, and misinformation, intentional. Actually, it's the other way around. Disinformation is done intentionally to cause harm, and the misinformation is just the accidental act of spreading or creating incorrect stuff. It's been prevalent, but I do believe we're digging down to more solid data and information. Thanks to individuals coming forth, previously were scared or intimidated by for some reason, now feel safer. I do believe WarLike Wrath, although he has no criminal investigative experience or schooling, sharp mind, excellent analysis, deconstruction skills. Also, he's adamant about creating a platform of freedom of speech for most part of it and no blocking for most part of it, at least. So anyway, I agree. And this is the other thing, Actually, I'll probably show my face when I do my additional response because I think it does get forgotten about with time. So some loose thoughts that I want to add on now is that from my experience, yes, there are people in the Noah Presgrove case and still to this day spread all about here or there, no names specifically mentioned, but there are people in this particular case and community that have their heads so far rammed up their own arse, and you can see in their own behaviour, attitude, and just how they word stuff. Can be very unnecessary at times. If you want to add it to the glossary, feel free to do so. But I've come across people like this over and over again in the past. Same situation, same behavior and attitude. They don't change. They continue being a knob and a prick. And they probably will die a prick at the end of it. It is where it is. Just natural selection is where it is. But that aside, in terms of, just general coverage of a case or cases and how one presents and comes along in the first place, you don't get me jumping on in saying, yeah, I've got 100 years of experience. I'm going to solve this case. I'm going to rip it open and expose the truth. The end. Now, if I did, then yes, the outcome would be rather disappointing because it just hasn't happened. But, there are many other people doing the same thing that I do in different ways, of course, better or worse, but still doing the same things, just with different cases. The common sense would say, you'd hope to think that the main people that do their job within the case are doing it and are present. That's what matters most. And then anything after that may be able to help complement the case if it's done correctly in an appropriate nature. And that's what can be done, for example, here. The social media aspect, the awareness aspect, the learning aspect, like all the other channels out there that may only make one video, tell the story about a case, start, midpoint and end, but without solving it, and then move on to the next thing, a form of entertainment. Obviously, it's not a good thing to call it that, because true crime isn't exactly entertainment, as in people are suffering and victims, friends or families are suffering. It's not good. One of those things where, isn't it, where people who aren't on the receiving end of it at the time or in the moment or never have been can sit back, listen in, as a form of learning, educational, but kind of entertainment as well, but not for that to be taken the wrong way. Educational entertainment in a way. Like how people may watch a horror film based on a true story of a serial killer. Ooh, really interesting, really exciting, really dark and scary, and then learning more about it. Everyone reacts differently, right? It happens. But I don't know, it's just certain outlooks by people. It's just a bit weird the way people act. And, like with their weird references about WarLike Wrath as a podcaster. No, I'm not. There's no proof or evidence of that. All WarLike Wrath is this. All WarLike Wrath does that. Who does their research on my channel? If you look back on my channel and the different content and playlist, I am a gamer. I'm an abandoned explorer when it comes to certain buildings about. I am a DJ to an extent. I've created music as well, which is featured in the odd Indian film online. I've also created nature videos as well. I'm an ASMRist, okay? ASMR sounds. Do reviews, comparisons, psychological aspects as well. True crime, mysteries, missing people. All of this, over 10 things, big themes and topics, all done on one channel over time. Fitness, exercise, and much more. There's all proof and documentation of it on my channel. But the ones that yap on don't bother doing the research, do they? And at times I've come across it. The biggest yappers are the ones with the default profiles and zero content on their own channel. Once again, I've seen a lot of it with time. But, the main theme of this video is important, and the screenshots and timestamps and timelines along with it is important. It gives context as to when what was said and how things have changed in between. There can be change. It's not always a bad thing. It can be a positive as well, as long as there's some kind of context to understand the period of time and then try and figure out what happened in between it for stuff to change. The timeline in the case is just as important as the timeline in the community on how people act and behave, tied to the case in some way. Anyway, that aside, just briefly moving the case to the side, and now WarLike Wrath talking about completely different stuff. Obviously, Tim Daniel hiding in the background, well, not quite hiding, but trying to lay low, and then I suddenly demand, Tim Daniel, step up right now. And then you're like, oh, I'm just trying to lay low. So that's unfortunate that Tim Daniel laying as low as possible because of Beauty Gurumo's makeup finish upon their face. Was the job done well? Maybe done too well. That Tim Daniel cannot walk outside or show his face in the live chat because it's just going to bring a load of crowds of people all around thinking, oh my God, that's really good. Whoa. Tim Daniel has to hide his face now because what's been applied by Beauty Gurumo is just like a magnet for sequin dresses, not dresses, clothes and all kinds of stuff. But speaking of which, shout out to Tim Daniel. Even he doesn't even know about it. Tim Daniel has donated in terms of deep pockets. It doesn't matter about the depth of the pockets. What matters is, do the pockets have zips or buttons on? Just so happens that this top has zips attached to it, which is something completely different. But Tim Daniel, besides Brooke Bounce Carter donating false eyelashes to WarLike Wrath and 24-inch earrings and cowboy hats and horse gear and piercings and wigs, and then Beauty Gurumo donating in terms of makeup and brushes and anything else in between, Tim Daniel has stepped up with donating a shirt to WarLike Wrath, and even he doesn't know it's left his wardrobe. That's what it's all about, confusing the mind man. So I'll just stand up for it. See, last time we did some kind of like little fashion show, it kind of went wrong because someone was like, oh my God, do we really care what type of top he's wearing? Yeah, I care. So there we go. This is all it is. See, the problem is, obviously, with doing exercise, it's got a little bit tight with time. Like, honestly, it has. You know, where you got that there, it's like, it's elastic, okay? So if I pull it, it sticks, it clings on, it grabs onto the arm. So it restricts the blood flow, but, you know, we just got to work with it. It's fine. Oh my God, Beauty Gurumo, I got a bone to pick with you, baddie. So Beauty Gurumo, do not be trying to apply any makeup or fake tan or foundation, because if I've got a white shirt, it will no longer be a clean sheet, will it? No, it all stains, and if it drips down, not good enough. And I know Sharon in the background, okay, apply this or apply that. You might even come across someone that's applied it incorrectly. Stop staring, Sharon. Look straight ahead and not at me exactly. So, Tim Daniel's shirt, it's got all little diamonds going all the way around, very sparkly shimmers and glimmers all over the place. And as for the zip, which is awkward to show, there you go. Okay? On both sides as well. And they do go up, but if I do that, then it will expose unnecessary stuff. But can you hear it? Yeah, there we go. Why does one need zips? Well, if I ever become a fat bastard, I can unzip and then it will release myself and then I can breathe a little bit better. But that aside, fashion show over. Just thought I'd keep it small scale today. But if you did enjoy the video, you found it interesting, if you want to share the video and hit the like button, that'd be much appreciated. See what other people think about the situation of communication or any dysfunction in the background, any other possibilities in between as well. And if you want to drop your comments down below, make sure to do so under the video. I can respond back at a later point, see what people have had to say and whatnot, and then we'll go from there. Thanks for watching. Appreciate your patience. Goodbye and good night for now.